Welcome. We are back. Another day in the market. Another day slightly lower for the market. Another quick update stream for tonight. Not a lot happened today. Pretty straightforward stuff to talk about. There are a few names that made interesting moves, and then some slight updates to talk about. We're going to get started with crypto. Bitcoin itself, kind of just continuing on in this wedge. If we go over to a 4-hour time frame, sitting right in between two levels. It's neutral. Bitcoin is neutral short term, and you do have hidden bullish divergence on the daily, so that is good. But apart from that, there's really not much else to talk about. Ethereum, same thing, neutral, going sideways in a range. Not much that's changed. However, Solana, this has now tested the breakout of this flag for about 2 days in a row, and it's close. You've got the potential for hidden bullish divergence on the MACD. If it starts to lose, okay, let me relax a second. If it starts to lose negative momentum, don't want to mix up my words there, and we continue on to some other markets. That's really it for crypto. I did mention this when I was on X Spaces today. You can't call them Twitter Spaces anymore. Back in the old day, you could. The US 10-year, not the 2-year, had its best day since November 9th of last year. So since November 9th, if I did the tracking correctly, today was the best day for the 10-year, or at least at the time that I mentioned it in Spaces, it was up about 2% or something. Was the best day since November 9th. Yesterday was the best day for the dollar currency index, or the US dollar index, from what I can tell, since last March. So something changed. Nothing crazy, but something changed. You could try to relate it to the Fed minutes from yesterday, but I don't know the exact reason. I don't really care. Just two little things I wanted to mention. They're not the biggest deals ever, but they are something I wanted to note. Moving on into some metals. Gold kind of just going sideways, rejected that major resistance again. Silver, it's working on higher lows, but it's also just made a lower high. The overall pattern is like what I drew yesterday. It's just a much larger symmetrical triangle here. Nothing really apart from that. And it's currently open right now. The Hang Seng Index down about 0.7%. All right. Before we head into the tickers I usually look at to talk about the overall market, I want to do it a little bit differently tonight. I used to look at the NASDAQ on every single stream. I exercise through the NASDAQ Composite Index, and I have not looked at this in a very long time on the stream. So I want to chart this because it's pretty much a blank chart right now. Before I even get to the SPY and the Qs, I want to take a look at this NASDAQ chart and see what really is there to work with here. So the key test is taking place right now. Actually, I'm going to put a line down in the sand right here and take a look at this 14.5k level. We go historically, got a low here from January 10th of 2022, a low here from September 20th of 2021. Clearly see these highs at this level. And then if we go a little bit more into the future, pretty much topped out here last July, and now you are retesting that level once again. So this is the key level for the NASDAQ. That is pretty clear to me. Now, a lot of people have this cup and handle look to the NASDAQ, but this is not the same as the Qs. Relative to previous all-time highs, the Qs actually broke it. They went higher. The NASDAQ Composite Index did not. So a slightly different way to take a look at this. I'm going to chart that, and then I'm also going to go ahead and chart this. And then we're going to zoom out. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches, kind of. Four to be safe, but maybe 5. And we broke out of it right over here, as you can see. We actually gapped above this trend line and perfectly put in a low of day at this trend line on November 14th of last year. And since then, it's just been a continuance of a really good market up until the last week or so. And now we've seen 1, 2, 3 gap downs in a row, 3 red days in a row. And we're finally at a level, which is good. So if we don't hold this level over here on the NASDAQ, then probably your next level to look at is going to be down at around 14.1k. You can see this high here from August 30th and lows here from the last couple weeks of November. So it's either we bounce right here, like literally tomorrow, and I did see a statistic that the last time the QQQ went down for 5 days in a row, on the 6th day, it went up 61% of the time with an average gain of 0.28%. If I actually just remembered that off the top of my head, that is crazy. But I think that's what the tweet I read like 2 hours ago said. I swear I'm not looking at anything. I don't even know if I can find this. Let me see if I can find the tweet. I just want to see if I was right about what I just said, if I actually remember that. How do I look this up? 5 days. I don't know if I can find this, but oh wow, okay. Let's see if I got that right. You can go and fact check me, but let's pull this over. From TrendSpider. So 31 other times. So like I said, 5 consecutive red days. This happened 31 times in the last second. I didn't even mention that. The following day was green 61% of the time with an average return of 0.29. Okay, I did say 61% of the time, but I believe I said 0.28 was the average return. Nonetheless, I read this like right when it came out. 7 o'clock. It's now 8:40. I don't know how I just remember those numbers, but if anybody's seen Suits, I feel like Mike Ross right now. And that's really it for the NASDAQ. Let's go over to this. Let's start with the Qs, and then we'll go over to the SPY. So looking at the Qs, not too different of the chart. The key level I have over here on the Qs is this blue zone right around 387. That's the key level I have here. And we have a little bit of lows and highs here from 2022. We have a very clear high here from July, and then a little bit of consolidation at that level in November. All right. So that's really your big level to go to next on the Qs. I don't really see much in between that on higher time frames. I wouldn't put too much thought into the daily candles right now. I'm not seeing anything that would really make that big of a difference. On the 4 hour, however, this is a pretty clear bearish engulfing candle, and at least on a 4 hour time frame, the next level I see is just going to be these highs over here, sitting at around 394. So not too much lower, but a little bit lower, and not enough data for a pattern or anything yet either. So continuing to wait. This is why I always talk about bearish divergences, bullish divergences on the stream. Just look how beautifully the classic bearish divergence on the MACD gave. Like, this gave you, let's see, this was basically implying that the market was going to sell off, and it gave you a heads up on December 20th. It gave you a heads up literally this whole entire period. Got a heads up that the market was ready to sell off. That's when the MACD started losing positive momentum. You got a week-long notice to take profits or go short, and then the second the MACD crosses to red, we start to see this pullback. And I don't really think this is that much of a pullback. I mean, a lot of people are really freaking out about this. We're down 4%. It's not that bad. I'm pretty sure we've seen negative 4% red days on the Qs, like in one day. We just did that in a week. And I get it, like the historical context is that we're pulling back at our previous all-time highs. It definitely does have some more significance. But let's move on to the SPY now. We will take a look at Netflix in a little bit. What's up, Frank, Danny, and the Lump? 31 times in a decade is not statistically significant, unfortunately. You might be right there. Time for number 32, we will see. Looking at the SPY now, 462 is a clear level, and if you remember last night's stream, I brought up this right angle descending broadening wedge. We broke down from this in the final trading hour of the day. Again, like Mitre says, it's not the breakout or the breakdown that matters, it's the follow through price action. So maybe tomorrow, unless we get some sort of a gap, futures are slightly green right now, but unless we get some sort of a gap tomorrow, maybe we like back test 468, flip it into a resistance, and look, if we start selling off tomorrow, I mean, you have a small level here at 464 from these two candle lows, but your next major level is 462, and that's not that much lower. That's only 1% lower. I mean, I think that the SPY will see 462 before it comes back up to these highs at 477. I think we're going to do this. I think this is going to happen before this happens. I think the red line comes before the green line. That's literally as simple as it is for right now. So we do have some economic data coming out tomorrow morning. Yes, it is possible that changes things when we get back, and we get back above support. Like, that's great, right? I'm just talking about where we're at right now. If that changes at the open, it changes at the open. If it changes at, let me pick the most random time I can think about, 1:14 p.m. tomorrow, if we get back above this level, that's good. That is good for the market, but just for right now, we're under it. So that is a very real pattern. This pattern is about 3 weeks long. So you're breaking down from it as we speak. We did see a little bit of like a flash move lower once it did break down intraday. Actually alerted not SPY puts, but QQQ puts. If we go over to a 5-minute time frame, I don't know why I don't have it charted anymore, but on the 5-minute, I had something like this charted, and I alerted QQQ puts, I believe, like right here. So those went up about 200% in a couple of hours. Even alerted Russell puts earlier in the day, which only went 20%, but you did see that selling going into the close, and that's the SPY and the Qs. Moving on to the Russell 2000, pretty much finding support for now at this gap fill from the gap up on December 14th. That was your low of the day yesterday. That was your low of the day today. If that breaks tomorrow, the next level is 191.87. Take a look at this high from September 1st of last year. You also have highs there from March 6th of last year, and then almost topped out there in June of 2022, and then bottomed out there in the end of 2020. So that's your next key level, right on due at 191.87. And then of course that white trend line you see, that's also your bigger level on a daily time frame to keep an eye on. What I would love to see here on the Russell 2000, and I'm seeing all the posts on X, so I used to call him on Twitter, I know I say like 5 times a stream, but I would love to see the Russell drop a little bit lower, get back down to this trend line, bounce off of it, and then start to develop some hidden bullish divergence on the MACD. That would be a great scenario in my opinion, because what I don't want to see is, yeah, we've been going up and down in this range since the summer of 22, and now we're just going to go all the way back down to the bottom. And I don't know, I mean, at this point, if you go back down to the bottom of this range after such a good breakout attempt, I'd be surprised if you actually held it, because at that point the Qs and the SPY would probably also be printing huge double tops with bearish divergence on the weekly. So it's, I'd say short-term bearish, but this could lead to a good healthy pullback for small caps, which had a really good end of the year, really good Q4 of last year. So that's the overall market. QS was a key name today for a lot of people, or a key focus, and perfectly topped out at $10 pretty much. So, I mean, if we want to talk about the technicals leading up into today, there really wasn't any. I would even go as far as to say the technicals on QS were bearish yesterday, because you gave up this 672 level and you had like 3 red candles in a row. MACD was losing momentum, gap to fill below. The technicals were bearish coming into today, in my opinion. Not that I even looked at this chart yesterday, but let's take a look at this article. QS up 50%, thanks Volkswagen. And let's see what the news was. Volkswagen is a partner of QS. I've already talked about this on the stream before many of times. And what else really happened today? Wednesday, Volkswagen offered an indication of progress, saying that QS's solid-state battery cell had significantly exceeded their requirements in the A sample test and successfully completed more than 1,000 charging cycles. A samples are early-stage parts supplied to automakers. The ones that would go into a vehicle ready for driving would be called D samples. Parts very close to what go into production vehicles. All right. And for those of you who have kept up with the whole EV mania of the last few years, the possibility of having solid-state batteries has been highly debated, from my understanding. And there were a lot of people that were also saying over the past few years, one of the large reasons why QS sold off a while ago, even before small caps, mid caps sold off in the bear market of 2022 started selling off, because people simply thought what they're going to do is not going to work. And now they were able to outline major progress. Nothing's necessarily confirmed yet, but they were able to finally show, hey, we have a good chance of making this work, and that could change the game for EVs for a long time. I don't remember, I used to know all of these details because I was like very involved in that whole entire EV craziness back in the day. I don't want to sit here and like BS all of you, but like it was something along the lines of like the batteries won't be as heavy in car. Please somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like it has something to do with like the batteries are less heavy in cars, and maybe they're less toxic than like the lithium batteries. There's a lot of different technological and environmental reasons as to why solid state batteries were a big hope for a lot of different EV companies and battery producers. There's a couple other stocks that are working on similar things as well. I'm very outdated with a lot of this stuff. I really haven't focused on these stocks in a couple of years, but if you were to ask me, or if I was to see this news article 2 years ago, I would have been able to perfectly analyze it for all of you. But unfortunately, it wasn't a great time to be looking at a lot of these stocks for the last 2 years. However, attention was kind of turned towards these, and I could do a quick chat GPT of why solid state batteries are important, I guess. Let's take a look at this. All right. Why are solid state batteries good for cars? And I feel like the other obvious things would be like lasting longer and recharging speeds maybe. So the quick answers I'm getting are safety, less prone to issues like thermal runaway, energy density. They have higher energy density, longer driving ranges, faster charging, longer lifespan, temperature tolerance. This is a big thing. I'm sure a lot of you that have Teslas and stuff, you know, when it's cold out, it's really not good for your battery, and like warming up the car and stuff and having the heating on, like it really does use up the battery. You might have to wait for, in some cars you might just have to wait for the battery to warm up before you can even drive it. Reduce size and weight, so and environmental impact. All right, I guess I do know a few things about a few things, and I did get like 4 out of the 7 points as to why solid state batteries are good, so I'll pat myself on the back for that. And anybody else who was in QS prior to today is definitely patting themselves on the back. I mean, unless I'm assuming that they got in here. Obviously, if you got in all the way up there, then it's maybe a little bit less pressure, but not a big difference. So these are my levels on the daily. There's no patterns or anything to really talk about on the daily. These are my key levels on the daily time frame. I even had somebody DM me on Discord asking to look at the 15-minute as well today, and that's really all I was able to give a look at. But I mean, look, it rode this trend line all day intraday. It tried to break above $10. It tested the psychological level, and then that's also when the market started pulling back around 2:30. Confirm that. Yeah, it's when the market started pulling back as well. And later in the day, it kind of showed supply here. It retested a breakout and then got supply. After hours, it just kind of hung out around there. So 950 is where it's finding a little bit of equilibrium for right now, and that is QS. Continuing on, let's take a look at the swings. The only active ones right now are Tesla, number 1, which is back testing the wedge breakout on the daily. I did mention this in the Discord today. Keep an eye on that. The ARK ETF swing, I have that alert set. If this drops just a little bit lower to $48, I'm going to mark it a break even because this swing was up 10%. Now it's back over to the alert price. And then gold just really didn't move today, but another day holding the 200-day moving average as a support. So really it for the ongoing swings. The past swings, they already hit their targets pretty nicely. Momentum is beautiful. Looking into some large cap stocks now, Apple got very close to 200-day moving average. In general, this is a very key area for Apple to bounce at. Previous all-time highs from the beginning of 2022, resistance from October of last year, and now hopefully a support for Apple. There was a few different news pieces around Apple today. Just reading some headlines. Apple supplier TDK bets new battery will change smartphone game. Microsoft gets closer to overtaking Apple as most valuable US company. So, see what happens. Gift card scams and all that. I'm not going to read the rest of the news, but this is a very key area for Apple to bounce at. That's kind of the moral of the story. Volume's raising up a bit here, so we will see what happens. I mean, if we just take a look at the fibs as well, you're also sitting around a 618 retrace. I wish that there was a pattern on lower time frames because I mean, if you really take a look at this, like you're also testing that. Apple, in my opinion, because of the significance of support on the daily, if it can develop a 15-minute, 30-minute pattern tomorrow or on Monday, it could be a decent day trade for a bounce if the market lines up with it. So I will keep an eye on that. Amazon, unfortunately, was not able to hold a break out of its range. Now it's getting closer towards the bottom of it and slightly under the very, very key significant historical level. I'm trying to use big words tonight, as some of you can tell, at $145-ish. So key support here for a while, flipped into resistance, testing it once again. Moving on, Nvidia, slight green day, but this might just back test the breakdown of that trend line and go lower, especially if the Qs do. So like I said last on stream, I'm bearish on Nvidia under 500. If it breaks over 500, I'll flip over to bullish. That simple, don't overcomplicate it. Now, we already talked about Bitcoin earlier today. Riot and Mar were able to put in some green days. I'm not going to really focus on the daily because there's not much to talk about there. But on the 4-hour time frame on both Riot and Mar, there's hidden bullish divergence. They got their first decent pullback after having very, very crazy runs. And it could be time for their next leg higher. I mean, we technically already seeing their next leg higher. The only thing I would say is that just quickly looking at this, there's a potential for a head and shoulders on this 1-hour chart. If it tops out right here. And then Mara, probably the key level on the 1 hour is going to be like 2660. You can see this candle high, the high of day today. So keep an eye on those. Quick look at Coinbase. 2 days in a row holding above 150, which was a low it put in March of 2022. That's your key support for right now. Microsoft, bearish engulfing today. Pretty slow mover so far this week. DraftKings had a good day, up 2%. Not potential. This is pretty much a tweezer bottom candlestick pattern. I mean, you have 2 wicks on the top of it, but I mean, the overall picture here seems to be back testing previous resistance, attempting to flip it into a support with the potential for hidden bullish divergence. This could be an area. I mean, you could probably even like create some sort of a bull flag out of this as well, even though it's somewhat under it. I don't know. There's a couple ways you can chart that, but that's DraftKings, AMD, and MU. AMD also got a bullish engulfing today, trying to retest this high from June as a support for 2 days in a row now. Micron, I don't really have much of any read here, but it was up 0.5% today. AMC, another 5% lower. Same exact analysis as last night. There's no support, there's no pattern. MACD was somehow green for the last 2 weeks, even though the price just went from 7 to 5, but it's now red. Volume's still there. GameStop. Just holding 1550 is the key for GameStop. And on Netflix, you said you're leaning bearish, daily and weekly bearish divergence. I do see that on the daily. And I do see it on the weekly. However, on the daily time frame, it has successfully bounced off of this 466 level for 2 days in a row. Now, if we go back in time, you can see that that is a significant level because of these 4 major lows here between July of 2020 and November of 2020. And it held that until it broke it on earnings in January of 2022. And it reacted to that, this SONAS resistance, it broke above it. It used it as support over here. You went higher. You're trying to make another higher low. You're making higher highs. I would agree with you on the bearish standpoint for Netflix if it broke under 450. But above 450, long term, it's in the clear in my opinion. Yeah, it's making higher highs, higher lows. But if it breaks 450, then probably 200-day moving average next. And you look at Lumo for a lump, I can definitely do that. If anybody here is new to the stream, make sure to hit the like button. I'm trying to hit 5,000 subscribers this year. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Lumo, Pharma, Inc. If anybody wants me to look at any charts as well, please feel free to drop that in the chat. This is sitting in a range between 277 and 452. So Lumo is quite neutral right now. Wouldn't say I'm bullish or bearish in the short term. in the long term, it's pretty much only ever gone down. So, well, since 2015, it's pretty much only ever gone down. So they're gonna have to do some work on everything, to put it lightly. I just saw this article at the bottom. I don't even want to try to pronounce this person's name. Go for it. Anybody who's watching the stream, try to pronounce that name, because I don't even know. Okay. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm saying that's a really interesting, unique name. XOM on the weekly, it's got classic bullish divergence and support at 97. Let's go over to the daily. Well, on the daily, it's more pinpoint support at 98.50-ish with the wedge breakout, high or low put in. Midterm, it looks okay to me. However, short term, keep in mind, yes, you have the support, you have the wedge breakout, but there's also, make this red so you can see a little bit differently. There's this bear flag forming and hidden bearish divergence. So it's a little bit of a coin toss here. That's XOM. RKT, I know that was on a pretty good run last month. BC. And it looks like that zone I drew in terms of resistance did hold as resistance. Why did I draw that zone? Because at this $15 level, you used it as support twice, then you flipped it into resistance twice. And then what did it do? It came back up to that price point, and it reversed there, at least for right now. So now its next support is this zone. Why do I have this zone charted? Because it topped out here, it topped out here, it topped out here, it topped out here. Looking left, looking for highs and lows is the purest way to do technical analysis, in my opinion. Pivot points, looking left historically. Purest way to find good levels. The more volume you see at those highs and lows, the more times you see that level tested, typically the stronger it is. Okay? So it's got a gap fill sitting at around 1185-ish. That's also in the zone. That's your next support. In between these two levels, I'd say I'm pretty neutral on it. Just wait to see which one of these zones, it either breaks above this zone first or breaks under that zone first. Wait to see which way it goes. And anybody just joining the stream, we are now doing ticker requests. Feel free to drop any requests you have, and we will continue to take a look at them. And on the Discord, the link's on the bottom of your screen, discord.gg/free trading movement. All right, MPC, did we already look at this? I don't think so. Clear support there at 141. Clear resistance there at 159. That's your range. Wait to see which way it breaks. It's quite literally that simple for now. I'd say that supports, let's not do that. I'd say that support is more of a zone than a literal support. So that'll be your support zone on MPC. AI. It just has to keep making higher lows, but I'm not a fan of how it broke the 200-day moving average. But to be fair, it's been breaking above and breaking below the 200-day moving average for the past 2 months, and really hasn't made much of a difference. It's stayed around the mid to upper $20 range for the majority of the last 2 months. So it's just a question of, can it confirm another higher low or not? On lower time frames, there's probably a little bit of a wedge forming here. Take a look at the 1 hour. That's your 1 hour wedge for AI. And there's also clear resistance here on the 1 hour at 32. That's the same level on the daily as well that I have charted out. QQQ weekly got an abandoned baby last week, fall through so far. I would say that right now it's finishing the abandoned baby candlestick reversal, because that's pretty much a 3 candlestick pattern. Even though like typically that third candle, this red candle, would have been a little bit higher and a little bit more parallel to that green one, but instead of being green, it would be red. But yeah, doji at the top really was a pretty good signal for a reversal. Classic bearish divergence developing now. The weekly on the Qs under $413. The weekly time frame on the Qs, based on my personal system, are bearish. Bearish candlestick reversal, potential double top, classic bearish divergence, losing volume. That's 4 bearish variables. I don't think I can name one bullish variable for those 4. Not trying to be biased or anything. I'd rather the Qs go up than down, but this is a bearish reversal indication based on the system I use. So that invalidates if it makes new all-time highs. Until it does that, not good. On the weekly, you know, the daily could change. We'll see what happens. More ginger ale? No, this is not ginger ale tonight. This is the classic Vibe Stream Tea. Or Stream Vibes Tea, I don't know. All right, let's take a look at Chewy now. I mean, it was a nice double bottom at the pattern completion zone. I mean, kind of, it's not really an actual harmonic. Nice double bottom, nonetheless. Now it's retesting these highs from the middle of November. Maybe it flips into a support, maybe it doesn't. You did have a 3 Black Widows candlestick pattern coming into today. I was gonna sneeze and then my brain said never mind. That's Chewy. Palantir, technically a bullish engulfing candle today. It's 50-50 here. Your resistance is 17, your support because of the gap fill should be 15. You also have the 200-day moving average lined up over there as well. Did I just say widows? Not 3 Black Widows. 3 Black Crows. Yes, I do mean that. Palantir. HD. This one, very short term, a little bit of resistance right there, around 344. Well, I guess it's a little bit bigger than that. Wow, that is historical. Can you believe it? I mean, you could widen this range too, but it looks like we're getting some good price action out of historical zone. Like that literally started with me drawing it in the very short term. And then I look left and wow, there's more touches, there's more touches, there's more touches. And just ends up being probably the most important zone on its whole entire chart. And then you have a major support here at 269. Looks kind of like the Russell 2000. So it's I'd say it's bearish unless it can get back above this zone. That's Home Depot. We did look at Netflix. My quick analysis was I do see the bearish divergence, but this zone at 450-ish is very important historically. Look at these lows from the end of 2020. If it holds that, I would say it's okay. But if it breaks it, then yeah, maybe move down to the 200-day moving average. Take a look at Costco next. Just trying to hang on to this bull flag for the potential for hidden bullish divergence. I mean, this has a chance, like, it really can continue to develop, and you could rechart this flag probably 10 different ways for the next few days. But I mean, look, if this flag can really start to develop and play out, that's exactly what you want to see. Probably the best pattern you can get after a strong move up in the markets is a bull flag accompanied by hidden bullish divergence. However, you need more development of the flag, and you need definitely more development for the chance of hidden bullish divergence. At some point, you would think that it should create hidden bullish divergence and probably confirm it, because it would basically have to break 538 before any significant bounce. It would have to go another 16% lower without any bounce at all to pretty much not get hit in bullish divergence. So it should happen at some point. This is just one of those names where you can just, I mean, I'm not telling you to ignore the chart, but if you were to just like look at it like this and just wait to see that MACD lose momentum, that could give you a pretty decent signal, very similar to what the SPY and the Qs did, but opposite. Those did it on the green MACD because they were bearish divergences. Now I'm talking about the potential for a bullish one. If you're new to the streams, if you're new to the free trading movement, my free course is in the description. If you're getting confused by all of this divergence talk, make sure to check that out. So that is Costco. Any other tick requests, let me know in the chat right now. And yeah, in terms of trading day today, like I said earlier, I'm not really day trading this week. I haven't done live trading. I have alerted some stuff in premium, and 4 out of the 5 options I alerted this week did actually play out. Qs, I already talked about earlier in the stream. The Qs puts, they went up 200%. Heading into tomorrow, let's do some quick low time frame analysis for the morning. Remember, any data overnight can override all of this, but just heading into tomorrow morning, for all of you stressed out short-term options traders, could never be me. Actually, was literally me a week ago, but I'm now temporarily retiring. By temporarily, I mean probably on Monday or Tuesday next week, I'm going to start day trading again. I'm also like moving accounts and brokerages and money between different things. I'm just doing a lot of rebalancing for like taxes and just figuring out where I want to day trade, where I want to put long-term stuff in. So hence I'm not really trading, and I've still been very active. I was on Twitter Spaces all day today. I've been in the Discord the whole week alerting stuff. So next week I'm planning to start doing the live trading again in premium, and maybe take some day trades Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't know, we'll see. My big goal for this year, not goal, but an adjustment I'm making for this year is I'm making an adjustment to day trade less. And last year was a pretty good year for me financially. 2022 was not. So after like having the experience of that, because the same thing happened before then, 2021 was a great year. And then 2022, my ego was super inflated. And then January and February of 2022, like the first top where the QQQs put an all-time high, I lost a lot of money. So now I'm getting reminders from the past. So let me just show you this on the chart. This right over here was probably like my worst part, like the most amount of money I lost in trading. Like that. This leg down on the markets was the worst. That was like the first, like probably the biggest pull the Q saw after the COVID crash. Up until that point, I was just nonstop printing. And yeah, this was rough. So now we recovered. Everything has been great. We're kind of back at the same place. And the last time we were doing this at the same exact price, the same exact price action, was when I had one of my worst couple of months trading. And a large reason for that was I did not day trade at that time. That this box I just drew, after that box is when I started day trading. After this box. And for those of you who were in premium at the time, this box I'm drawing right now is when I created the Champs Trades infamous channel that's no longer a thing. Horrible timing there. But I started learning how to day trade, not learning, but actually implementing day trades after this drop down. I'm sure a lot of you have a very similar story. And got better. And then, you know, over here, I was day trading this whole, like all of last year, I was day trading the whole year. I didn't really swing trade that much last year. And certain years are better for day trading, like probably like that. And then certain years might just be better for swinging. And probably last year was one of them. And I didn't really swing trade that much last year. I just mainly day traded. So going into this year, I'm going to try to balance it out more. Because like historically, I've either only swing trade or only day trade. I want to balance it out more. And in terms of day trades, my goal for this year is to not, because something I ended up doing later on in the year was I would wake up every single day for the market open and have the mindset of I'm going to trade today, which is not bad, but it's not something you need. I want to wake up every single morning now being like, I'm going to look at my charts today. That's it. If while I'm looking at the charts, I see a really, really good opportunity, I'll take it. But I found myself sitting down at my desk and getting into trades within 2 or 3 minutes after the open just because it became a routine. I want it to become a routine for me to look at my charts every single day, but it shouldn't necessarily be a routine that I have to day trade every single day. And that's what I'm trying to teach myself, right? Like I always say, like I come here and I talk about all these charts and how much I know about technical analysis, but especially when it comes to psychology, the best traders in the world are still learning every single day, including myself. And I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but the best people are as well learning every single day. So trying to implement the same thing. Also working on like 3 different projects. One of them, like I've mentioned earlier, is the bot that I'm going to be releasing later this year. And I've realized that there's a lot of prerequisite work I need to do for that. A lot of different coding things I need to learn first before I actually can get what's in my mind and in my notes into lines of code. So working on that as well. And that's really what I'm doing at the start of the year. So just trying to do like a little bit of a talk apart from the charts after non-stop looking at charts. I'm also going into my last semester of school ever, which is going to be stressful because I have to take 7 classes. I've never taken 7 classes in one semester, and they're all like the 4,000 level finance classes. So they're not going to be easy. So that's why I'm trying to really change up my day-to-day a little bit. And what this does is it allows me to have more time to, like I was in Twitter Spaces for like 4 hours today. I can do the streams. I've streamed every night this week. Like it allows me to be a lot more consistent with the social media stuff too, which I really did not focus on last year. And that definitely did not work in my favor. I'm sure a lot of you saw I kind of took a hiatus for like 6 months. And everything, YouTube, premium members, the regular activity in the Discord, everything just completely tanked, and as it should. And the last 2 months have been the complete opposite, where I finally have had the time to really start working on streaming again, posting on Twitter. Sorry, Zeke, I know I said Twitter. Being more active in the Discord. And I think there's been like a 35 or 40% growth in premium in the last 2 months, which is the fastest it's been in 2 years pretty much. So it's been crazy support lately. December was my best month for new members in all of 2023. It was one of my highest revenue months ever as well. Probably like a top 5 in terms of revenue. So moral of the story is I needed to start working harder last year, and I already got that down in the last few months of the year. And then I also am now implementing working smarter. All right. That's a cliche ending to that long story. Hopefully it was pretty cool to hear some more personal stuff and not me just drawing lines. I know we have a few more charts to look at here. What broker do you prefer? I've primarily, when I started trading, I used the classic Robinhood. Then I switched over to a mixture of TD Ameritrade and E-Trade. I still use E-Trade here and there. And primarily last year for day trading, I was using Liable. Liable has probably historically been my most common platform I've day traded on. And I just opened a new account with Aries. I'm actually really good friends with the owner of Aries. It's called Trade Aries, and I've hung out with him many times. I'm going to be going on a trip with him and a few other traders in a few months here. Can't speak too much about that, but I can't really say that it's the best platform ever because I haven't technically even used it yet. I'm sure as soon as I use it, I'm gonna have great things to say about it because I've seen all of my friends talk very highly of it. And the main reason I'm getting is I want to support my friend who is starting this brokerage, and I'm already very confident in because I know his character as a person, and he is very, very smart. So I'm getting it because of him, but I'm sure I'm going to stay on it because of the actual app itself. So I will be talking about that more in the future. I'm not sponsored by them officially or anything. He's never, like paid me to talk about them or anything like that. He's definitely been very generous and taking me to like cool events and stuff. But he's a really cool guy, and I definitely look forward to talking more about that in the future. So, still mainly on Webull right now, and I'm in the process of maybe moving some over to E-Trade, which E-Trade's not great. It's just one of the easiest accounts for me to use right now, and Aries as well. All right, taking a look at Delta now. 200-day moving average tests. Larger picture here is an ascending broadening wedge. It's a short-term make or break area, and it's a long-term bearish pattern. That's Dow. And take a look at TLT. I was actually looking at this earlier today. This is just another one of the premium swings that like perfectly went straight up to all three targets, and as soon as it hits the third target is when it starts pulling back. It's just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, short-term TLT retesting the 200-day moving average. Also got a slight gap fill here at 96.98. That's your short-term level to keep an eye on. And I mean, longer term on the weekly, this is what I was talking about on stream 2 weeks ago, and look what happened. I said it on the stream every night for like 2 weeks in a row back in October. TLT, TLT, TLT. We looked at it every single night, and I kept saying, look, this has been down to the low 80s 5 times before, and the last 5 times it was at the low 80s. It reversed. It's probably going to happen again, and believe it or not, it happened again. So yeah, I will say on the weekly, that's not a great looking candlestick formation. Hanging man or a shooting star. Let me clarify the difference. Not a hanging man. Hanging man would be the body on top. So shooting star there, fall through or rejection. Not great. ETC, I don't know if you want to look at Ethereum Classic or stock in a different market. I'm assuming Ethereum Classic. On the weekly, it's been trying to find some big support here at $14. I mean, look at how this used to be highs in 2019 and 2020. Then it spent the last year and a half being a support. It's trying to move away from it now. Overall, it's a major higher low on the weekly with consolidation. I would say on the weekly, I'm bullish above 14 on this. And on the daily, it's just kind of indecisive right now, just chopping around. So that's it for the stream tonight. Bitcoin got a quick sell-off on the new daily candle, but has recovered some of it in the last couple of hours. Kind of went straight from 44 to 42.5k, and then it went back up to 43.5k. So that's Bitcoin. Thank you all for watching the stream. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Join the Discord. If you want to join premium, it's whop.com/championvibe. WHOP whop.com/championvibe. It's the pin chat. Go check that out. You get the mastermind recording. You can get the free access to the premium Discord, and you can also get the full free trading course there as well. So go check all that out. Next time I'm going to be live is next week. So have a great weekend. Have a great trading day tomorrow. I will be in the Discord, and I will see you there. Peace out. Also, I just realized that the music was kind of blasting the whole time. Please let me know the next time I forget to lower the music when I start the stream. Thank you.